Sudan has assured of its readiness to work closely with Nigeria on establishment of Businessmen Council to boost trade relations between both countries. Mr. Mohammed Abdel Mannan, Sudan ambassador to Nigeria, made this known in an interview with the news agency of Nigeria in Abuja. He commended the cordial diplomatic relationship between Sudan and Nigeria, saying such will be strengthened to boost trade volume between them.
As you see, the relations between Sudan and Nigeria goes back to the independence of the two countries. Sudan got its independence in 1956. Nigeria, after that, it's 4 years, 1960. But since the independence of Nigeria, diplomatic relations was established between the two countries. And there are many fields of relation between the two countries. But as you ask in particular for trade, the volume of trade between the two countries is not that such a big. It is for us, it is not an acceptable volume of trade. It is not acceptable level of trade. It's supposed to be more than that, because you see Nigeria and Sudan have huge resources and huge untapped resources. Nigeria also, adding to the resources it have a huge size of population. It's almost one over five, or the fifth volume of population of Africa. But when you look to the volume of trade, you see that it is very limited. That is in volume, and that is in diversity of items that traded. I'm very, very sorry to say that the volume of trade between the two countries, when you took it from the Sudan side, it is only Sudan exports only from Nigeria around $10 million a year. And that is only in the spare parts and cosmetics. For the goods imported from Sudan to Nigeria, it's only around 500,000 US dollars. So you see, it is 500,000 US dollars to 10 million. It is very, very poor volume in trade. Nigeria got from Sudan hide and skin items, and also the gum Arabics. Almost all the items, they are traded between the two countries. But now the two countries are working on increasing the volume of trade and improving the bilateral trade relation between the two countries. And we are working also on establishing businessmen council between the two countries. We want to bring the businessmen from Nigeria and from Sudan to establish a joint council for business and trade. And we hope that our effort in this direction can provide a fruitful result.
He expressed hope in bilateral relations between Nigeria and Sudan, saying such could boost growth of Africa Trade Cooperation. He extolled African Continental Free Trade Agreement operations to be in the right step in the right direction in terms of the promotion of international trade in the continent.
Continental trade, the African countries started first by establishing regional economic blocks or regional trade blocks. Almost we can say that we have 8 regional blocks. Prominent among them, you can see the COMESA and we have the SADC, and we have the ECOWAS, we have the IGAD, we have the East African Community bloc. All these are economic and trade blocs. But African presidents, African leaders came to know that it is very important to have a very wide trade forum, and therefore they established the free trade area, the continental African free trade area. That is a very big forum. It had been established or signed in 2018, but entered into effect in January 2021. So in the age of this trade agreement, it is still very young trade agreement and cannot be evaluated during these 2 years. It needs times to get in operation and then can be assessed and evaluated. But it's a very big forum. You see, it has 1.3 billion of population, and it has almost 3.4 trillion US dollars. This is a volume of trade can be between African countries. But still there is some barriers should be overcome to pave the way for this trade agreement to be implemented. There is non-barriers should be overcome, and there are non-tariff barriers, and there is tariff barriers, or should be overcome. You can see non-tariff barriers, the issue of the road, established road, and the issues of movement, visa between the African countries, and the issue of progress also, progress in the custom, and the delay in trade in the border between the countries. All these non-tariff barriers need to be overcome, and this will come by time. Because only 2 years the agreement is in force, and when you get into implementation of the agreement, you will discover what problem you will face, and you can solve this problem. And we hope at the end this trade agreement could unify and integrate Africa together and help in intra-African trade and also intercontinental trade with the other continents.